Hello comic book people, it is Wednesday, that means it's comic book day. Let's see what I got. First up is Action Comics number 50. I haven't read anything related to Superman for a while. There's been a big problem with all the continuity, the stories they've been trying to do, and some other issues that I was never really a big fan of in the New 52 universe. With that, I decided to check out this latest issue, being it is number 50, and the rebirth of the DC universe is going to be changing a lot of factors, including Superman, especially Superman, being that he is the flagship character of the DC Comics universe. The story involves Vandal Savage, because of course it has to involve Vandal Savage. Superman is trying to retake the Fortress of Solitude. He's been depowered tremendously from his usual levels, but the status quo is returned back to normal. I didn't really go back and read all the past issues, I just read a summary of everything that happened up to this point. And it was a decent ending. I am curious as to how the rebirth is going to be affecting everyone. Next up, I got Batman and Robin Eternal number 23. Don't be deceived by the cover. Even though Midnighter does show up here in costume, and he is in the story, he is never in costume at any point throughout the issue. This is a weekly comic book that has all of the Bat family in center stage rather than Batman himself. Batman is there, but he's more of a background character where they're going back into the whole backstory of the main villain, which is a terrorist by the name of Mother. There's been a very long, convoluted plot where she's able to control all the children of the world, and she's able to get them to kill their parents so that she can become the big warlord of the planet. And all of the Bat family and non-Batman family members are joining together to try to stop her. That's where we're at this point. Spider-Man Deadpool issue number 3. There's always been speculation that Deadpool has some sort of weird crush on Spider-Man. Maybe not a sexual crush, but he has some sort of man crush on it. Although it definitely could be sexual too. They've already made reference to that several times. Deadpool is pansexual. Deadpool's making an attempt to try to be a hero and try to impress Spider-Man, but he's doing this for an ulterior motive, which is revealed in this issue. But we also get a very serious Deadpool for a brief few moments there in a few panels where he's revealing something to Spider-Man that Spider-Man had no idea about. It's definitely a good read, if anything, just to get a good laugh out of it and still have some sort of action adventure taking place as well. Haunted Mansion issue number 1. I'm a huge Disney fan and I've been to all the Disney parks in Florida many times. After the disappointing Haunted Mansion movie that came out, I was a bit skeptical about reading this comic book, but after reading this first issue, it was decent. The premise has a young teenage boy who recently lost his grandfather, and he's going on a mission inside the Haunted Mansion to try to free his soul. It's a decent first issue, and I'll give it a shot and continue on reading the next couple issues, especially being that it does look like there will be an ending in sight, and they do have a plan developed for the story overall. Next up, I got the Infinity Entity issue number 1. This is about Adam Warlock, who's been mysteriously missing from the Marvel Universe for a little while now. Although this doesn't really take place right now in the Marvel Universe, there's a timey-wimey thing going on with Adam Warlock, and he's able to travel through time. Adam Warlock is a really cool character. Depending on who the writer is, he's had ups and downs with his personality. Currently, it seems as though he doesn't have any memory of his past life. He was killed off for a long period of time, then he came back, and then he was killed off again. His evil doppelganger came in and took over, and then he was killed off. It's been kind of confusing as to what they wanted to do with his character. Jim Starlin is the writer for this, and he is an excellent writer, so I do have high hopes that this is going to be leading into the next Thanos storyline, where it's going to be focusing on the Infinity Gems, or the Infinity Gauntlet, or just Infinity in general, because that seems to be a title they like to use in the Marvel Universe. And I'm being sarcastic here, but I'm sure the Marvel Cinematic Universe has no bearing whatsoever on this storyline and the whole Infinity aspect. Like I said, sarcasm. Finally, I got Thor number 5. The battle that a lot of people have been waiting to see is Thor versus Odin. This is Jane Foster Thor versus Odin. This has been building up for some time. Odin has never liked Jane Foster, and it's addressed in this issue. The fight between these two characters, unfortunately, is taking a back seat. It is pretty epic. Unfortunately, though, we get to see Loki show his true colors yet again. There could be some big overall scheme that we're not aware of, and Loki may be doing something else, but still, it is disappointing to see him revert back to being a bad guy. This was a great ending for this first story arc. It also includes an epilogue for the next story arc, which should be pretty cool as well. It's worth noting that Detective Comics number 50 came out as well, but I just can't get into Jim Gordon being Batman, so I just skipped that altogether. Also, the final issue of Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover came out, but I'll do a separate video doing a whole series review on that. So that's my comic load for this week. What did you get? Did you get any comic books this week? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me in this video, and I will join you in another one very soon. Be sure to check out my Patreon site, my website, my social media sites, and everything else out there. Anyways, peace, people.